He was like, no, pay it forward.
Right.
I say, what do you mean? He said, do something for somebody else that they can't do themselves. And this is before the movie came out. I love that movie, actually, Pay It Forward.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Good movie?
Good movie.
Okay, I got to check it out.
And it came out before then. And so I decided that I would be living my life to pay it forward for others because somebody paid it forward for me. If he hadn't have did that, I would not be here today.
Yeah, I try to run as little as possible, just to do whatever I need to do.
Only if a dog chasing me, and my dog don't chase me, so.
Right. Yeah, well, at this point, I'm not even super fast, man. So I always think in my mind, if a dog's chasing me, at some point, I might just have to turn around and just do a punt.
Yeah.
Just try to punt, Baxter away from me. A little reference to Anchorman right there. Yeah, I'm not super fast. That's why I got into endurance. So, but we'll go ahead and open up the show. Like I said, it's my fault. My battery is a little bit low, so. But we should be good to record our podcast here. So this is Generation Giants podcast. This is episode 20, dude. 20 is like my lucky number, man. You're be blessed.
Wow.
Number 20.
Number 20.
You're not actually my 20th guest, but this is episode 20, so it's a pretty big deal.
I guess I can
pretty big
settle
deal
for that. What number guest am I?
Somewhere between 1 and 20. That's as far as I know.
That's close.
I'm losing track, man. Before we get into it, I want to give a plug to the listeners, to the viewers. We are on check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you're listening to audio right now, we're also on YouTube. And subscribe on iTunes if you got an Android app. We got Stitcher Radio, Google Play. So, right?
Nice,
Shaun. Right? Endorsement. Check us out.
Check it out.
Check
if you
it
don't,
out.
I'll come to get you. I know where you at.
Dude, this
Don't
dude's...
ask how.
Dude's an Army dude. Don't mess. Don't mess. We will talk about go rucking, though, later. I'm excited about that. I'm excited. Do you do F3 at all? You know what F3 is?
Is that the male version of FIA?
Your wife does FIA, doesn't she?
My wife does everything.
That's funny
man.
that you know about F3 through FIA, which FIA's... There's way less women, I think, doing FIA than men doing F3. But yes, it is. They are the connected organizations.
Yeah, my wife does it, and she mentioned it a couple of times. I thought about doing it. It's most of them are like early in the mornings. With me doing stuff in the mornings, it's hard.
5:30 a.m. That's not early, man. Come on.
5:30. I am cooking breakfast at 5:30.
You're cooking breakfast?
Yeah,
dude. Well, shoot, I can't even say anything about that, man. You're already up and at 'em for the.
Yeah, I start cooking breakfast at, I think 5:30. Yeah, I cook. My stove has to go hot at 5:30.
Has to go hot.
Has to go hot.
Dude, eggs
my
on
kids
deck.
come down to eat at 6 o'clock.
Your kids waking up at 6 a.m.?
Yeah.
Dude,
we
you got them regimented, man.
Well, I have to in the mornings. Only the mornings are regimented. I have to because we started this probably 9 years ago. I've been doing this for 9 years, seriously. And I've been trying to figure out how do I incorporate the Bible into my kids' life. And I've been in student ministry for 19 years, pretty much since I got married. After I got married, I joined in the ministry.
Probably a good thing for those young bucks. You probably got some words of wisdom there when you get married. Figure out your faith journey a little bit more.
Yeah, and so what I noticed is the average Christian, and if you're an average Christian, I'm not making a knock or a ding at you. It's just something I noticed, but they don't really open their Bible or dig into it. It's just pretty much if you go to church on Sunday or if you have a Wednesday service. So I wanted my kids to kind of have this Bible throughout their day, every day. And so I started doing family devotions, and I decided I would get up early and cook them breakfast. And after breakfast, we would do a devotion, a little 20-minute devotion.
Dude, that's genius, man. Because what gets like kids, even adults, motivated more than anything? Food.
That's right.
Dude,
I cook.
You put food on the plate, man. They'll
breakfast.
be there.
I mean, it's a spread every morning.
That's a really good
different.
idea for just husbands or just people in general. I think. Shoot.
Yeah,
it's a good strategy.
They say breakfast is the most important meal. I want to send them to school.
I dig it. Thank God for all the chickens and pigs that sacrifice themselves.
That's right.
For our nutrition and sustenance.
Good bread, good meat, good Lord. Let's eat. Yes.
You doing the thing.
Yes. So we've been doing that, and so I have to wake up at 5:30. so that I can make sure they have a meal and get God's word in and give them their challenge for the day.
Yeah.
And what's odd was days where I was tired, didn't want to do it, or think they needed to sleep. They would be excited about it. If you ask them what's their favorite Bible story, it's one of the ones in Judges. I think it's Judges 3, where the guy got stabbed all the way through his gut to his elbow. That's their favorite story.
True.
Favorite. I'm like, all the stories.
Your kids gonna be warriors one day. It's their favorite story. Wait, you tell me there's blood in the Bible?
I know, man. And really fat man like Jabba the Hutt. Yes.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah, that's how I described the guy. If you go look it up, I think it's Judges chapter 3. He was he got stabbed with this blade that was about 18 inches, and it says it went to his elbow. So if you imagine somebody who's fat enough for an 18-inch blade, and their arm to go through to the elbow, he has to be big like Jabba the Hutt.
Big fella.
Yeah. That's nasty, but it's cool. It's in the Bible.
Dude, I'm just imagining this whale of a human being just getting the sword
all the way through. And that's their favorite story. No Jesus raised from the
dead.
Right,
yeah. New Testament, dude, that's so modern, dude. Postmodern, dude. We're all about judges and the kings.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
War, killing and but it's fun, so I love it.
Yeah, dude, that's cool, man. And so you got 3 kids.
3 kids.
You got 3 kids. Beautiful wife, dude.
Beautiful.
And I want you
She's off the market.
Right, yeah, all the above off the market. She an athlete. She's in what state doing a competition?
She's in Philly right now.
Philly doing a paddle
training for U.S. Dragon Boat team. She made the team a couple of months back, and she will be representing the United States at the World event in China in October.
That's huge. So
y'all go check them out. I think they do have a Facebook page or Twitter or something. I don't even know. I don't even follow them, but stay tuned. Sometime in October, you might hear about the U.S. Dragon Boat team. So,
yeah. I gotta check it out. Well, dude, Shaun, love being able to have you on the show today, man. We serve at our church together with the students, with the young bucks. And dude, I just want to say you're one of the coolest dudes. I feel like you just walk around with some kind of swag on, and you're pretty laid back, but you also know when to get serious too. So I love that about you, man. And I know you got a lot of wisdom, and I love hearing about your stinking morning breakfast now. All these other
come knock. I'm open. Hey, if you guys hungry, come by and eat. I love to feed
policy
people.
For breakfast, dude. Food, man, that'll motivate me. You might see me popping in just a little morning prayer session with some eggs and bacon. You do the meaty breakfast version or continental? I think that's like bagel version. Continental. I think that's bagel. Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's not food.
That's what I'm saying. Dude.
We do bacon, eggs. Their favorite is like a breakfast burrito.
You do breakfast burritos?
I do breakfast burritos. I do grits, eggs, all that, man.
Get some.
I'm about to start doing. I bought some pancake mix to do homemade waffles. Got a waffle maker.
Oh yeah.
And every now and then when I get tired, I do cereal, but cereal only happens like once a month. I say I'm gonna do it every week.
You don't get tired of that often, dude.
No, it's because my daughter, my oldest, Leilani. Shout out to Leilani, Wando High School.
There you go.
She said, "Dad, she came to me one day and was like, I just want to say thank you." And I was like, "For what?" She was like, "I really appreciate the fact that you wake up early and fix us breakfast. Like a lot of my friends come to school hungry, and you take the time to fix us our favorite foods every morning." And I was like, "Okay, I'm doing it for dude, that charged me up to do it for another year."
Let me just say for those students, man, a little bit of affirmation for a good thing your parents are doing. If you want a behavior to continue, a little reinforcement. That goes both ways towards students, and students can do that to others, man. I'm reading a book right now talking about reinforcement and how important it is. If you want a behavior to continue, you got to reinforce it as soon as it happens, as soon as possible. You don't necessarily want to wait a week. Oh, a week ago, I really appreciated that thing you did. It's like, do it right away. Don't even think about it. Do it right away.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. She's smart.
Yeah, she's smart. She is. That girl's a genius. She probably know how to get me to get whatever she wants.
Right.
So.
Daddy's girl
all the way.
I get that.
Yeah, that's my baby right there.
I get that. You want to do a shout out? You got 3 kids, wife, family, man. You want to give a shout out?
Yeah, shout out to them all. I mean, I love them. They have been my backbone, supporting me. My wife supported me as I went to architecture school. We were married with 2 kids, had a third, and she supported this grown man going to school. And so, excuse me, she has been my backbone when I needed the most. My
architecture school is no joke.
No.
Architecture, engineering, we kind of speak the same language.
Man, I was living off of energy drinks. This is a healthier version, but when I was in college, man, I was doing them, what are they called? I forgot all them sugary ones.
Yeah, Monsters. Okay.
Man, I was drinking like 3 of them a day.
Oh, my Lord.
Just to get through college.
I'm glad you made it out alive.
And, yeah. So, she supported me through that. My kids, I don't live through them, but I live life watching them, and I love it. Yeah. I love that, for whatever endeavors that they go after it with everything, and I'm there to support them, cheer them on, encourage them, laugh at them when they mess up, but that's also good. Encourage them.
That's
when
good.
They,
laughing a little bit there.
Yeah, you got to, man. Yeah. You got to. Can't take yourself so serious where you just think you can't laugh. You gotta laugh at yourself every now and then. Yeah. So shout out to them all. They've been awesome. God has blessed me with a perfect family. I know there's no perfect ones, but I think He gave me a perfect one.
Perfect one for you.
Yeah, for me. There we go.
Right. That's cool. And 1 or 2 of them are in high school. 2 high school.
2 high school. Leilani's she's a junior, and Elijah's a freshman.
Big year.
Big year for a little guy. He is the tiniest one. If y'all are at Wando and you're listening, just look for the shortest guy in the school with the biggest fro. That's my son.
I was gonna say, I don't know him super well, but I see him and that fro, man.
Yeah,
dude. If I were him and I could grow that fro, get a few extra inches on my height, I'd be all about it.
Well, it's bad because it make him look like a microphone. The old school microphones.
That's awesome. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I see him. He'll be balling. He'll be balling with the boys.
Yeah,
it's cool. It's cool to see your kids around the church doing things. So encouraging others, being a good example is what it's about. So you want to give a quick rundown into your background a little bit. You mentioned you went to architecture school after getting married. After you got married when you were in middle school. Yeah. You did a stint in the military. You want to give a brief rundown into where you are in that sort of journey?
Sure, I can tell you a little bit about me. So let's back up then. Born and raised in Chesapeake, Virginia. And when I hit 18, I was ready to leave. Ready to get up out of mom's house and go see the world. And, came from a single family home. It's just my mom, my father. He was around, but he wasn't around. So, maybe you could say you're stereotypical black guy. Yeah, that's right. For those who are only listening, I am an African-American black, whatever you want to call it.
For those listening audio, no video.
Yeah. But I did have some of those stereotypes. I
will say, when I mentioned you had some swag, I think everyone pretty much already knew.
Maybe they did, but I just wanted to, clear the air.
I can't have that kind of swag, man. I can't.
Yeah, you can. I just want to clear the air because there's things that that kind of I had some stereotypes. I was since my father wasn't around, my uncles were, and my uncles were hustlers. I did have one who was a drug dealer. He didn't allow me to do it, but I kind of learned from them, and so not anything bad. I did want to be because I saw him. It came with whatever fame and notoriety, but
right.
I also was scared of my mom. Like, you ask any probably young black men, like, the strongest person in that family is that mom or grandma. Like, you don't want to mess with them.
There's something about strong mamas, man. Like,
so
you just know.
I had the fear of God, but the fear of mom was like way up there.
you got the father, and then you got the mama. Dude, I hear you.
So I wanted to kind of get away from that environment, go see the world, and try something new and figure out life from that angle. And I did. I joined the military, and it was great for me.
You joined Air Force? Am I remembering correctly?
Not
Army.
the chair
Army.
Force. Go Army, baby. Go Army.
That's right, man. We're not about playing that ultimate frisbee for pizza, man. That was the little joke at the Citadel, man. They'd be doing PT in the afternoon playing ultimate frisbee.
Yeah, come on, guys. Chair Force, man.
All the Air Force people are like, I wish I could.
No, I love you, Air Force guys. Okay.
Yeah, dude, we need them.
If you guys are out there listening, I love y'all and I appreciate y'all.
I will say I am a little prone to liking Army. I did Army ROTC at the Citadel, so that's kind of
sweet.
That's kind of I like them, but then I also like learning about Navy SEALs and stuff too.
Oh yeah, so hardcore.
I like learning, hearing from hardcore people and trying to trying to follow in their footsteps.
I was not that hard. I was just a regular truck driver. Okay, to spell the rumor, I was
By
smart.
truck, you mean tank.
I wish. I thought I was being smart when I
tanks.
joined the Army because I did not want to go to war in hand-to-hand combat. I'm going to be a truck driver. Little did I know, how do you think they get supplies and people to the front? Hello, truck drivers. So, but I'm still here today. Nothing happened to me too crazy. So, but after the military, I got out and how I got to architecture. I always wanted to be an architect as a kid, and I remember having a crappy day, like it was yesterday. I got out the military, got a truck driving job in Hawaii, and one of the worst days of my life, work-wise. I was supposed to split a load with a guy. I worked 5 to 6 days a week. Every other day, I was supposed to run what we called the money run. It was doing the airport and all that, and it was some more expensive loads, so I would get paid more. Well, for a month, I did not run that run, so I was losing money. I was pissed, and the guy told me I was, not local. I was an outsider, and that's his route, and no one's going to take it from him. He had worked there for 20-some years, and I did not have seniority to, fight with him for the route. So I came home and told my daughter, you know what, you're going to college. You're going to be and do whatever you want, And Leilani was about 6 years old, about 5 or 6, just to put that in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked me what did I want to be, and I was like, I wanted to be an architect, but I can't do it. She was like, Daddy, you always told me, never let anybody tell you can't do anything. I mean, she said it just word for word. Yeah. 5 years old. Blew my mind. And I began to think about it and tried to make excuses why I couldn't. She kept hitting me with that. And so I went to work that next week, quit my job, and moved my family from Hawaii to Savannah, Georgia, to go to the college I always wanted to go to become an architect. Mm. And, my wife supported me through it. And here I am years later, and it's been such a huge blessing all throughout that. I mean, we've had our shares of ups and downs and times where we really had to trust God. I mean, we joke about being married 18 years, but there was a point where we started our marriage and it almost ended immediately. I grew up in a single-family home, as I mentioned earlier, and my mom was married to a drug addict, and they used to fight domestics. My wife grew up in a home where domestics was prevalent. And so we both come from this background. And then when we got married, it was weirdly natural to us that we would have domestic fights, and then get back together. And all the while we were trying to stop it, but just didn't know how, I guess, because it was so ingrained. You are a part of the environment that you come from, whether you want to or not. Either it comes into you directly or indirectly, and it started to come out. And I remember, I got arrested because work found out, the military found out, and I was trying to battle this all while I had just gotten saved, just trusted Jesus, and I was asking God, like, okay, God, I was supposed to trust you through this crappy situation. Like, what am I supposed to do? I remember just feeling desperate, lonely, and thinking, I just got married, and I'm supposed to be married to the same woman, and we fight all the time, and, like, you got to do something, because I can't live like this no more. I was ready to give up my marriage, and I was looking at about 15, 20 years federal time, and so I began to fight this process, go to court and everything, and we found a church in Colorado, started going to marriage counseling, and all while this court case was pending in the back, and I went to get a lawyer and couldn't afford one. They told me I made too much money, but I didn't qualify for a court-appointed lawyer, so I was standing all alone before this court. And all these charges, and looking at these years, and I remember the district attorney said, I'm going to bury you under the jail. Colorado has this huge domestic violence problem, and they had a zero tolerance policy. So she told me she was going to bury me. So no lawyer. The DA wants to bury me. And I'm like, okay, God, I can't do this. You have to do something. If you're real, like, you got to show me. And if you deliver me from this, I would do whatever you say.
Yeah.
It was one of those desperate moments like, okay, God, for real.
Yeah.
Seriously. And I literally said that. I'm not trying to test God or nothing, but just out of desperation, like, I need you to be for real because I need to know something. And lo and behold, I did call one lawyer who, God bless him, I forgot his name. He couldn't be my lawyer, but he did give me some advice. And needless to say, after a lot of praying and fasting, all charges were dropped. If I pleaded guilty and I got everything reduced to harassment, I just had to do an anger management class. And there was one other thing. I don't remember.
Right.
And so, we moved to Virginia. I did my anger management classes and all this, and I learned there was a lot from my past that had came up and affected my marriage. We went to marriage counseling. I learned a lot, and I just surrendered my life to Christ. And it was at that point where I joined the ministry. And I said, if I can help students who come from a similar background as mine or anywhere near that, to help them not make the decisions and mistakes and get ingrained in that pattern of that lifestyle. If I can help them, then I've helped somebody. So that's what kind of catapulted me into ministry.
Yeah, I love that because the ministry is really a story of redemption, and everyone has a path to redemption differently. Seeing themselves better than they thought or than their actions dictate, and I just see so much redemption in you, man. Like you telling that story, and you kind of gave me some spark notes beforehand telling me that story, and it's like, no, you wouldn't know. And we walk around seeing young adults and whatever age, and it's like you never know what they've been through and what they've come from, and then we shift towards students, and some of them have gone through things, and maybe they aren't at a point yet where they believe that they can shift from this season. Yeah. And that's so tough. Do you find yourself using that story often with your students, or have you had opportunities to? You have a student and he or she's just struggling.
Yeah, I've learned to become very transparent with that story and other stories that fold out of either my marriage or my walk in general. And a lot of students look at me like, "Whoa, like you?" Because I love to joke, love to play. I'm a happy-go-lucky type person. I love people. Mm-hmm. And I'm a passionate person, passionate for people. And a lot of people like, you can't, that was you. And there was a point where I had a lot of anger and resentment inside of me. And I wasn't a person of words back then. I would fight, if you will. And so God has changed a lot of that in me. And so I share that with a lot of students and people, just to let them know, hey, you can change. Like when you come and have this interaction with Christ, a true, genuine interaction, he can change your heart and make you new, very new, And I've seen some success with it. I mean, I got students who still follow me on Facebook, and we interact. I have students who come from all kinds of backgrounds, and a couple that I do love who are married now in Texas, and sharing my story has helped them, and so I love sharing it. I'm an open book.
Yeah, I love that, and we're gonna be taking a break here in a few minutes. I want to dig into that too because I relate, man. Because when I was in high school, especially, I was telling a friend recently. We talking about phases, and in high school, I definitely went through like an angry phase. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And even now, I mean, I like listening to music that many people categorize as like angry music. I just tell people, some people like getting Jesus whispered to them. Some people like having Jesus shout at them, Yeah. I like having some truth like shouted at me sometimes.
Sometimes you got to have that, man,
Some hardcore intensity and emotion. But definitely when I was in high school, I mean, it was a pretty dark time.
Yeah.
At many times, maybe even stepping back to middle school as well. But in the moment, listening to I like bands. Nothing against these bands. I like bands like Breaking Benjamin, like 3 Days Grace, those kind of hard rocking kind of bands. And in the moment, you some of the music tries to get you to feel sorrow for yourself, and like maybe that's a form of therapy. But I've learned, I think, to channel it. It's not about sorrow.
Right.
I mean, if you're angry about something, at least channel it towards something good. And I think that's maybe something that you've done. You've taken some things of your past, and now you're channeling it. You told me the other day, paying it forward.
Paying it forward, man. Yeah.
The guy told you a message.
The lawyer. So this lawyer fella that gave me all this advice and told me all this stuff to say to the DA, it worked. And she ended up giving me a plea deal, and the judge bought it. And I remember calling him and saying, look, I don't have a lot of money, can I get my taxes or whatever? And I was like, can I shoot you $500 or whatever, He told me no. He's like, I don't want your money. And I kind of got offended. I'm like, dang, I'm trying to, do something nice and say thank you. He was like, no, pay it forward.
Right.
I say, what do you mean? He said, do something for somebody else that they can't do themselves. And this is before the movie came out. I love that movie, actually, Pay It Forward.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Good movie?
Good movie.
Okay, I got to check it out.
And it came out before then. And so I decided that I would be living my life to pay it forward for others, because somebody paid it forward for me. If he hadn't did that, I would not be here today. I would be actually probably just now be getting released from jail.
For the maximum punishment.
For the maximum punishment. Because it was 15 to 20 years, and that has been 18 years. So think about that, So he paid it forward, not only into my life, but everybody's life that I had an impact on. And I tell people to try to pay that forward as well. When you look at bad things that happen, I explained it to my son like this. My son he's almost a carbon copy of me in some aspects. He's like a carbon copy of me and my wife, believe it or not.
Wonder why.
I wonder why.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
But there's things like we both have or had, whatever you want to say, an attitude. And I can see that in my son. And I told my son, I said, son, look, I'm not going to tell you don't have an attitude. But I need you to understand that attitude is an explosion. Now, you can either have controlled explosions or uncontrolled. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, we have a car, right? He's like, yeah. I said, there's a little teeny tiny explosion that happens in the car. And it is timed. I got a little 4-cylinder Altima. So there's 4 explosions.
You and me both, man. The 4-cylinder car, dude. God bless us,
baby.
Man. We going over a bridge like 30 miles an hour.
But I told him those explosions are timed to happen in sequence to make the engine purr perfectly so that the car will run. I said, that is good to have explosions like that in your life, whether you use them on the soccer field to kind of channel your energy to make you play harder, whether you use it on a test to, make you drive and focus and study to get a better score, or whatever it is that you do. But if you just allow that big explosion, like if you drop a bomb on something, it's going to destroy everything. And so I try to, tell him and other people, let's do controlled little explosions. That's how we deal with a lot of the pain or frustrations or whatever it is in life. We do little controlled explosions.
I like that, yeah. Because now I've gotten into other bands, because I love music. I don't get to talk about music that much, but I'll speak on it a little bit. Like, it's a band called For Today. I don't know if you like For Today. They're like a Christian metal band. They're one of the ones, though, not just their lyrics are kind of I wouldn't even call them faith-based, just Christian-ish lyrics. But they also, in their concerts, they'll openly kind of preach a little bit.
Is that like, what is the group? Red? Or?
A little bit like Red. Red's hard rock. For Today is a little bit more like hardcore heavy metal. Okay. But I love one of their songs. It's called Devastator. And it's pretty heavy song. And some of the lyrics, it opens up, he's just screaming like, hell, fear me, I will be the one that will take you down. And that kind of intensity kind of epitomizes why I like that kind of hard music, because those explosions, like I have an attitude at times too.
Oh yeah.
Which fared me very well at the Citadel at times.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As a knob, as a freshman, it fared me very well at times. And so, but that attitude, if you channel it, it can become from anger, or it can go from just simply anger to passion.
Yeah.
Passion towards something, passion toward a positive end. And so I love that. And I think you're doing that, using your background and your family too. And I know you're passing on that message to your son. So we're gonna dig more into that in the second half a little bit. I'm excited about it. Let's see, transition into the second half. What would be a good question for you? What was your? Oh, do you have one? Do you have a question?
No, I'm just thinking.
What was? Did you play baseball? What was your sport in high school?
I played football my freshman year.
Football.
And quit after that.
Oh, this is a terrible story.
Reason. No, it's...
How many concussions did you give in football?
Like to say maybe I gave one, but had a bunch of other ones.
We'll be back with Shaun Key, star football player, high school extraordinaire, architect, all the above, just in 1 minute. Yeah, with a military background, you probably could lay the hammer down, right?
Real easy.
What kind of tools, if you will, would you like? Do you normally like to, hold in your back pocket? You got anything?
No, well, I mean, I told you how my dad was. My dad was a real hard man. Not so. There was this dynamic of he didn't know how to be a father, and a dynamic of kind of he didn't want me, because that was the reason he and my mom broke up, and she decided to have me. So he had this real hard exterior personality to him, and I pulled in some of that just by osmosis and being his son. I mean,
yeah, fancy word there. Some viewers are like, Ozzy who? Isn't that a movie?
and then the other aspect is being in the military and having the influence of the drill sergeants and all that. And so I joke with the kids and be like, hey, you don't want me to go drill sergeant on y'all. Y'all know I can, because they've seen me. They seen me like flip out on a teenager. I had this one kid. We were in Hawaii.
In Hawaii? What were you doing there?
I was a youth pastor. We was in the military, but I also was a youth pastor. And, took some vacation days to do camp. It was a week-long camp, kind of similar to, custom here, but not as big and ornate as custom. So I had about 25 kids. We were at a camp at the beach, which was beautiful. We had speakers come in. Local speakers would come in the morning and the evening, and we did workshops and stuff. So we're leaving camp. We're on a church bus driving home. We had what, 2 buses? Yeah, I was driving one, and another guy was driving the other. And on my bus, with the church name on the side of the bus, no tinted windows, the students, 2 of them, decides to moon the cars on the interstate.
Moon the cars. I thought it only happened in movies.
No, it's not movie.
This is real life.
Yes.
No tinted windows.
No tinted windows. The church name is on the bus, and you look up in the windows above the church name, and you just see 2 big old butts, like bare butts, and
ugly butts.
Ugly butts, and I lost it. I lost
Probably
it.
a good thing you lost it as opposed to laughing, because they would have, they would have carried that on.
We get to the church, and I mean, I am just, I didn't curse, thank God, but I am saying every other thing, like, if you can imagine.
The Christian curses.
The worst drill sergeant mixed with, my father, and all of those things came out. I was like hardcore ready to kill these students, and everyone knew. And I had them, we got to the church, I had them get out the car, and I put them, they sat outside the church with their nose 1 inch away from the wall until their parents came. I didn't allow them to move, look at nobody, or touch anything. I mean, and while they were had their nose on the wall. I just grilled them up and down until their parents came, and I had to kick them out. I was like, you guys can't come back to church ever again. I don't care if
Never.
Jesus come back and tells me that, he saved y'all. I was like, no, don't ever come back. Well, no, I was just telling them that. But I did tell them if they have a change of heart, they change their life, and I can see that they change, yes.
Right.
But,
sometimes you got to break people down before you build them back up.
that's right. And it was hard for me to do that because I knew these kids, they were trouble kids, but they did need that tough love.
Yeah.
And years later, I talked to one of them, and he didn't thank me for that incident, but he thanked me for being hard on him, because I was hard on him, period, and still loving him while being hard on him.
Right.
So it does work, but
Yeah.
I don't do it a lot.
Yeah, man. I've said loving people isn't always spelled YES. It's not always. Sometimes you need that tough love, especially when you're growing up, which is easier for us to talk about. It's like some students might be thinking, "Oh, look, some more adults talking about tough love for students," but it's true. I mean, we both have a military-ish. You were military. I was military college, so different.
Right.
But I think we both have that appreciation. But it's tough, man.
Well, think about it. Trying to reach students who live on the street. I mean, I have some friends here that mentor students in North Charleston, and she kind of shared with us this student life, and our friend is a very sweet lady, a very nice person, and there is probably no hard bone in her body. I mean, she would be the type of person, if you robbed her house and she saw it was you the next day, she probably would still feed you and ask, "Are you hungry?" That's how sweet and loving she is. And I was like, sometimes you got to remember these students come from the streets, and sometimes they need tough love to kind of put them in check. You living in that environment. Sometimes you got to get tough with people.
Sure.
And, some people need that. Some don't.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's important. It's the personalities that one needs to become who they're called to be. It's kind of like a cake. Cake doesn't taste good if it's just one ingredient.
Yeah.
You need all kind of different ingredients to build who you are. And I know we've had mentors and teachers and influences. If we just had one type of person influencing us, we wouldn't be who we are today.
No way.
And it's funny too, timing sometimes. Sometimes someone of a certain character will come at just the right time.
Yeah.
To whenever you're just prone to needing, whether it's a really kind love or really tough love, But you've got that military background, and so let's talk about maybe students and your influence in students. You've led students for 19 years. You were telling me or more, maybe even more, 19 years. You were telling me, your journey was like you got saved and then they asked you to be like a student pastor or whatever the next day or something, which certainly isn't going to be everyone's journey, but you felt called and you've been led to pour into students. And the last sort of group of students you led, they graduated last year, right?
Yeah.
So you led a youth group and they graduated last year, so they're about 18. Kind of what are some observations or what kind of themes have you seen, or do you try to speak into them of lately, or maybe even just throughout the years, that where you leverage your background or leverage who you are and try to speak into them?
Well, it depends on the student actually and what I see in them. Maybe it's their background, but I try to be real, and I hate saying that because sometimes it becomes a cliche. But I try to be real in regards to my life, the challenges I've had, and real about the things I see in them. And I've had some good kids who come from great homes. Mom and dad are married and no issues, and they kind of support their student. They're Christians, and the student's a good kid. To students I know who come from broken homes, or students who have criminal records, and I try to keep it real with all of them, what I see in their life or my life, and just kind of present to them just a unclouded version of the gospel and its effect on my life and how it's changed my life, and kind of the things I see where they change is when I invite them into my life, because you can easily talk at somebody all day,
right?
And
yeah,
That's one of the things that my father did with me. He talked at me. And so that didn't reach me because he was just at a distance. There was no emotional connection. There was no connection. You know, he could have been yelling from across the hall or a building, and it, wouldn't have meant anything. So I try to bring students into my life, and me getting theirs, and try to let them see what's real, see my hurts, my failures, where I rejoice, and that has probably given me the most success. I mentioned earlier about the students in Texas. I had two. I love them to death, or love them to life. Not gonna say no names. Not gonna say no names, but because they could eventually listen. I'll share this on my Facebook. But I love them because she was this outcast student who had dealt with abuse, sexual abuse, and all kinds of other things, and just kind of I think came from a broken home and kind of lived an alternate lifestyle and was just an outsider. Mm-hmm. And he was an outsider just by being different and weird, if you will, and just loving on them. Oh man, it was just such an honor to love on them. Mm-hmm. They would come to church, and I would see them around, and kind of hung out with their schools with them, and just over time watched them kind of grow and change, and see God change their heart, change their life. And these two silly people end up getting married, and it still shocks me to this day that, number one, they're married and they're doing great and love God and all these things, but just to see the change of where they were and where they are. And it's, I have a lot of stories like that, where I allowed people to come into my life and I come into theirs, like on a real honest level. And years later, looking back, I got another student who I think he's married now in Savannah. And he was the bad boy, record and all these things. And I was hard on him, real hard. Yeah. Because I saw in him where he was headed, and he didn't. And he wanted to be that bad boy. And I got a Facebook message from a couple years ago, and he was like, man, you know what, you were right. And I appreciate you, loving me, even if it was tough love. I appreciate it, and I understand now. And so those times when I get those are like, I get excited because I get to see how these people's lives are changed, and my little impact on their life, me just being real and inviting them into my life and just seeing the change that God brought.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That's one of the most gratifying things, man. And the students that I lead, they're still, like my current small group, I've led them for maybe 2 to 3 years. So there's still much time to grow and mature. And all the students I've led, I've been sort of in student ministry. I would have had to start when I was pretty dang young to have the experience that you got. That now you get to have stories that they come back to you years later. They're getting married, all kinds of stuff.
I know, it's crazy to think.
Man, they just grow up so quick, don't they?
Look, when old people say that, or I'm not even gonna say old people because I've said it.
Yeah, well, neither of us are too old.
I'm no spring chicken, but it's crazy to think I now have students who were my former students who are married now with kids. And I still picture myself as this young guy, but when I really think, I'm like, wow, I'm pushing I will be 40 next year. I am not that young. I still have this mindset where I'm about 25-ish.
Dude, it's all in the mind, man.
I'm not. My body sure tells me I'm not.
It's all in the mind. Yep. Yeah, and I turned 27. I was telling you, my he's kind of funny about the 20s. 20s are tough. 20s are interesting. They're very interesting. Students that are going to be approaching their 20s, I think you think when you're in school that when you turn 18 and become an adult, it's like you're in. Yeah. It's like, oh, now you're done. And but 20s is kind of like being in some sense, like being a kindergartner again. Yep. You're learning totally new things that you didn't necessarily learn in school, about taxes, about paying bills, rent, roommate situation, how to relate with people in your 20s, what is dating now that you're not in a school surrounded by hundreds or thousands of people your age.
You have the freedom.
And you got the freedom.
Your own type of rules, because when you're an adult, especially in your 20s, I can do whatever I want. I can go out, go where, do whatever I want. And so having to apply these rules to yourself now is like, huh?
And that's why parents, which you're your kids are right in that teenage years right now. And that's why parents have those rules, because pretty soon they won't have that authority to enforce rules. Yeah. They'll just – and what do you foresee in the next couple of years walking into that different relationship?
I'm
right?
going to cry. I am a couple of years away from that. My daughter is a junior at Wando, and my wife and I talk about this a lot. My thing is I want to prepare not just her, but all my kids or any youngster that I come in contact with.
Right. All those people you influence through church or other means. Yeah. It's all about trying to prepare.
My job is to prepare them. Like I tell my daughter all the time, she is my mini-me. She's probably going to be just like me, turn 18 and leave home and never return, which I'm fine with. But I want to make sure while she's at the house with me, I want to give her all the tools, all the resources, so that when that time comes, she'll be equipped, from knowing how to pay bills, being responsible with her money, knowing how to save up, knowing how to read people, because you got to be a people reader, because the world will chew you up and spit you out. And if you can't read those types of people,
figure out who to trust, kind of thing. Yeah, discernment.
Yes, definitely. And so, knowing that she's walking into this, my mind is shifted from, oh, my little baby, to I need to prepare my daughter. I need to prepare my girls, my son, for this world, to being out there away from the umbrella of daddy. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm still going to be just a phone call away. And it'll be too easy. Look at me. It'll be too easy for me to get there. So don't nobody ever think about trying me or my daughter. But no, on a serious note.
You don't want to have to go to jail again. Yeah. Kind of thing.
Nah, man. I know people.
I'll bring the bat back out.
Ain't no bats. We ain't telling what's coming out. It's a secret. No, but military skills. Yeah, I want to make sure that they ain't recovering no bodies. I'm just saying. No, I want to make sure that she and all of them are prepared, and don't have to lean on me as a crutch. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to be there for them, but I just, I want to make sure that they're prepared. Yeah. And that my mind, it is weird to shift your mind like that as a parent, because, I understand why my mom didn't want me to leave, because, I was her baby, and parents have this thing where they want to take care of you forever because they love you so much and want to provide for you. It's nothing negative. Mm-hmm. I just had to shift my focus and think she's going to be like me. So how do I equip her to be like me? Because I hit a lot of bumps. When I left home, I didn't know how to pay bills. I joined the military at 18. I didn't know what bills were. I got a cell phone and was like, what?
Back when they were brand new.
Yeah. Well, I had a cell phone ever since I've been driving, believe it or not.
Okay.
My mom was crazy in the fact that she allowed me, at 16 now, she allowed me to get a cell phone because she did not want me to have a pager, because pagers were associated with being drug dealers.
Students. Oh, that's interesting.
I'm serious. So
we're doctors.
Yeah, no.
We're doctors.
We weren't around doctors, I'm just saying. So my mom allowed me to get a cell phone, which I had a job. I worked at McDonald's. I was Calvin. If you don't know who Calvin is, go to YouTube and Google Calvin of McDonald's. That's when I loved McDonald's, and they had good commercial, because there was a point behind Calvin, okay? I was Calvin.
Claim to fame.
But she'd let me have a cell phone, and I thought that was crazy because I was 16 years old with a cell phone. Sure. When I left for the military, I didn't know paying bills and all that. Where I didn't understand saving, so I get my check, and it'd be gone. I get paid, and we going to the mall. I'm going to get me some Timbs, going to give me some, Nautica, this Nautica jacket I wanted, and I spent money like crazy, and I have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
So I'm teaching my kids that I know you want that nice, fancy, shiny doohickey, but let's save for that fancy, shiny doohickey. Let's save first for a rainy day. Let's pay yourself for tomorrow, and then let's live off of a minimized portion because you never know what'll happen. So she's understanding about saving, and all my kids are starting to get into that. But I want to make sure that they'll be equipped where if they need to turn their water on, where do they need to go? If they have a problem with their car, how you talk to a mechanic, because a mechanic as a young lady, some of these places will rip you to shreds. Or even a guy, you don't know what you're talking about, they'll get you. My wife went to the I ain't gonna say no names of no places, but she went for an oil change, and I got this bill that was like $40, and I'm like, why is it $40? It should have only been 20. It's like, oh, because they changed this, and that. And I was like, no, I didn't like that because they knew what they were doing. I do the other services on the vehicle, so I just needed an oil change.
Yeah.
But so I'm trying to teach her about just little stuff like that, where not allowing people to take advantage of you, even if, quote unquote, they're claiming that they're helping you. So
yeah, I think it's such an important message too, especially as a young adult, and for students, the why, if they're under their parents' roof, is the goal is not to survive life. Yeah, the goal is to thrive. Right. And it takes wanting to be an above average person, I think, to really want to thrive in life. It's so many people just, I think, settle for average. Settle for just getting by, settle for not putting, we're talking about finances a little bit, settling for not putting money into a savings account. Not putting pen to paper. And it's okay to kind of fly by the seat of your pants a little bit for a time if you feel comfortable. But at some point, like in the last couple of years, I put pen to paper, created a budget. That I have an app. I do the Dave Ramsey app. Dave Ramsey Financial Peace. Our church was pretty big into, and not only think that I'm building up wealth, but can actually see it, and it's so important.
You mentioned thriving. And Dave Ramsey, and I like those two things because thriving to me is, I don't want to just exist where I have a house. I have somewhere to live. My bills are paid. Done. I want to. God created this beautiful earth and all these great cities and stuff. I want to be able to go to those places, but I don't want to be selfish with it. And my thriving to me is kind of like, and you said Dave Ramsey, live like no one else so you can live like no one else. Right. And what that means to me is, I want to be able to, whether you want to define it under pay it forward or just thrive and being different, I want to go and see these places all around the world. I want to be able to partake in the beauty that God created, but I don't want to do it by myself. I want to grab somebody and say, hey, let's go check this out, because this is what people have done to me through the years. I can think of countless situations where people have blessed me, if you will, with something that I didn't deserve or I couldn't do on my own, or a situation, a circumstance, an experience. And I want to be able to do that. I want my finances to be taken care of where I don't owe any money, and I can say, hey, here, let me do this. I met a man who is a business owner, and he is, I don't want to use the word idol, but he's a person I look up to as a business owner. This man had 6 kids. 6 kids. But he put over 15 to 20 kids through college. Wow. On his dime. Wow. He raised his kids, had a thriving business, and then he took his own personal money throughout the community and paid for people to go to college. On his dime, not his children. He paid for my wife and I, when we were in a position of life where finances were beyond tight. I wasn't working. He paid for my health care, our whole family health care for a year. He paid for daycare for our children. He had no obligation to me at all. Right. At all.
It's just pure generosity.
He was thriving. He was giving. He was living a life like nobody else, and he was doing crazy things. And that's where my goal is in my life, that I want to be able to be blessing, huge blessing. To others. I don't want to be rich to be rich and like Bill Gates or whatever person you can name. Right. I want to be taken care of so that I can take care of others. And that is my goal and my business pursuits.
And it's kind of like a lifestyle. Like the Dave Ramsey quote, something along the lines of live like no one else so you can live like no one else.
Yeah.
You know, another way to put it that I've heard very similarly is do today what people won't so you can live tomorrow how people can't.
Yes.
So sometimes, you know, we see these people that are wealthy, successful, whatever it is, and we think, oh, they just jumped there. They just got there. But it takes a lot of learning. It takes a lot of, like when I hear you say someone paid for other people's school bills, I think, well, they probably didn't just save up like hundreds of thousands of dollars. They probably saved up, you know, maybe tens and then invested it somewhere or put it into some kind of educational compound interest account. And there's some things like that where it just takes learning, you know.
Yeah.
It takes like, how do you go to a bank and make the most of your money? Or do you even put your money in a bank? Do you put your money in a bank? Do you put it in the stock market? Do you put it in businesses?
Yeah.
Like, where do you put your money so your money will work for you? And there's so much to it. And Dave Ramsey, he talks about it. He has a podcast for those listeners. No matter how old you are, you can look up Dave Ramsey's podcast.
Do it, guys. Do it.
He has a radio show, and he basically breaks up his radio show into like 3-hour chunks. And so I don't know if it's every day or every week.
I think
you just get people's stories. You know, people maybe in their 20s, throughout the age spectrum of people that carried on all this debt, whether it's student debt or just maybe mortgage, but house debt is kind of expected.
Yeah.
Most people don't pay cash for a house, and it builds
You can.
equity. You can.
Can.
But houses generally build equity, meaning they generally increase in value because the population generally always increases and people always need a place to live. So housing is one of the main markets you can make money.
Yeah.
But he has that radio show. I highly encourage students, listeners, young people,
highly-
just check it out, and maybe it's a radio show for you, maybe it's
Highly
not.
recommend it.
But that's so key. Having that financial piece, being able to invest in others. I mean, you can still be a great person without money. You can still do plenty of things.
Yeah.
And in a way, I think some people have this view of Christianity or religion that you have to be almost you don't have to be in poverty, but people almost take poverty as like a badge of honor or religiosity. Sometimes I think.
Right.
There can be an attitude in that, but being wealthy, I know Jesus talks about it's tough for wealthy people to make it to heaven. You know, it's like
There's
easier.
a line.
It's like
There's a
easier to like fit a camel through like a thread.
The eye of a
string.
needle, right?
Yeah, eye of a
the
needle.
eye of a needle is actually a doorway, and I had to learn that.
Interesting.
It was a small doorway, but it still was a small door that camel really hard to fit, and so they call it the eye of a needle. And so it's crazy to think that, because I'm glad you say that. I don't want to say that, oh, we're promoting prosperity or whatever. Heck no. Right? This is not coming out of my mouth. I can't stand that message. But what I'm saying is God wants us to be mindful of the resources that he gives us.
That's a good
If you
word.
don't believe me, look at the parable that Jesus talked about, the 3 people that he gave talents to. And talents was money, but it could be talents as gift, depending on how you choose to look at the story.
Right.
In the story, it was talents, money. He gave 1, 3, and 5. And the one that buried it, Jesus is like so upset with. You know, he's like, get away. You know, basically depart from me. But the one who went and invested the 3 and the 5, he told him to keep. It was like, you did well with what I gave you. Now, that doesn't mean on the flip side, because I've been on mission trips and I've seen poverty all across the world. And I had a friend of mine ask me about this when I hit a low financial point in my life for 8 months with 3 kids. He asked me, what if God called you to be poor? And I was a tough pill to swallow thinking about, you know, knowing the what God laid on my heart and all that. And I had to walk in that for a while, because that's whatever God called me to for a reason. But I learned so much in that position about my pride and receiving help, and also looking forward to helping others. So I want you to understand that no ways or means are we saying that, you know, God is calling us to be rich, yada, 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 etc. God is calling us to be stewards of what he's given us. Whether
key.
he's given us a lot or whether he's given us a little.
Yeah.
And he's also calling us to take care of each other. He calls us to love each other. And so that's a big proponent. I've met people who don't have anything and they have loved me the most, which has been a beautiful thing. And I've met people who have a lot and have not loved me. Or I met others who have a lot and have loved me beyond what I could believe. And so as you go and you're looking at, you know, whether it's finances or stuff you have, be generous. Be generous.
Yeah.
That's one of my life goals too, is to be generous. If you guys that know me know the toy, I love toys. You know, I've had a motorcycle, jet skis.
Oh man,
a go-kart.
Go-kart.
Yeah, man, that go-kart was
dude,
so
did you
fun.
sell the go-kart?
Yes.
Come on, man. What were you thinking?
Well, this was years ago, but I'm getting another one.
Okay, well, let me know when you get another
Yes. Well,
I'll get some I'll get some turtle shells and some bananas, and we'll Mario Kart down the street, down in Charleston downtown. I'll throw on like a red hat.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my kids got to experience all of that, and one of the things I used to do is I've always said, whatever is mine, it's not mine. Even my home today, my home is open to anybody who wants to come hang out. You need a place to stay or whatever.
That's a good policy to have. A little
well,
open
my
door.
grandma, I got it from my grandmother. She lived out God's teachings in front of me.
Yeah.
She had a strength. My cousin came home from college, and she had the stranger. It was a friend of hers, but none of us knew this guy. And she's like, "Oh yeah, he's want to come hang out for the week. I'm going here. I'm gonna be gone." My grandma's like, "Oh, he can stay."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Who is this stranger in my grandma's house that we don't know?" And she fed him and everything. I'm not saying let people you don't know in your house.
Right.
Obviously, use caution, but
Yeah.
just that principle of being open. When I had my jet skis, I would take my students out from church anytime they wanted.
Dude, you got all kind of toys.
Yeah,
My
God
goodness.
has blessed me, man. I mean, I sold stuff. I got rid of stuff, and
All right, well, whenever I can come, whenever you get some more toys, you
Man.
gotta put me on the top of that list now.
yeah,
We'll
I will.
We'll go
Hey,
test it out.
I told you, my life, whatever's mine is yours. I share. I'm a sharing person. So
Jet skis, though, I can't get into it. But in high school, the day after a football game, me and some of the boys went out jet skiing and trying to show off doing U's and donuts. And I did a cut too fast, did a cut on the jet ski, flew straight off. My ankle hit the jet ski, broke my ankle, out for the season.
oh,
Being a dumb 16-year-old, on the jet ski. So actually, the go-karting sounds a little better to me than jet ski.
okay, we can go kart too.
Yeah.
So
True that.
I love the go karting.
Yeah.
I remember on my jet ski, I have a shark story.
You punch that shark in the nose? Holy smokes.
So I'm out riding the jet ski in Hawaii, beautiful Hawaii, and I was told you never go out by yourself, which is true. You never go. You always want, if something happened, you
You're
want
a
to have
hardcore
some
military
help.
dude. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
but I can barely swim. I swim very little.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Well, compared to a shark, I mean, Michael Phelps can not even
Yeah.
really do it.
So I'm out and I'm jumping waves and I'm having a blast, and I jump a wave and I get knocked off the jet ski. No problem.
Right.
So I start to swim back to the jet ski, and all of a sudden I get this scrape on my leg.
Oh.
And I roll over on my back. Now I'm about 15 feet away from the jet ski. I roll over on my back and I pull my knee out the water, and all I see is blood.
Oh, no.
And I see like scrape marks, like as if you seen a shark bite and you see the scrapes from it. That's how my leg looked.
Oh, no.
And I'm about to pee on myself in the water. I'm panicking. I'm screaming, "Shark!
Don't pee. They'll
Somebody
smell the fear, dude. Don't pee in the
Yes.
water.
And I'm scrambling, and I told you I can barely swim, but I'm scrambling to get in the jet ski, and I finally get on the jet ski, and I'm looking around in the water trying to find this shark. And I see some people on the beach like far away, but I'm trying to yell and wave to them to let them know there's a shark over here, don't get in the water, etc. And finally I look in the water and I see my shoe. I used to hate like the way sand felt between my toes, so I would wear diving shoes.
Oh, okay.
And I see my shoe, and I'm like, wait, why is my shoe so close in the water? And then I look, the water started to get clear. I was on top of a reef. So when I
that's
was
wild.
swimming, I scraped my leg on a reef. It wasn't a shark,
Ah.
and I could have just stood straight up. Man, I looked like an idiot. I'm like,
Oh, that's
did-
hilarious, dude. That was not the ending I was anticipating.
Like, did anybody see this idiot over here on the reef? Like, everybody else knew the reef was there.
Oh,
I
my
didn't.
gosh.
I'm like, I'm a dummy.
You got to modify that story. I like the punching the shark in the nose ending better.
Well, it's so funny.
Yeah, those
though.
reefs will get you, man.
Yeah, they will. So I tell people, watch out for the reef. Not sharks.
You watch out for the sharks.
Who cares about a shark?
Yeah, I mean, those dang reefs. I mean, a shark is what, like 6 feet tall? The reef, it's miles wide, dude.
Yeah, man.
It's like a mile wide of just teeth. Dude, the struggles of Hawaii living, man. Just getting cut on your jet ski in the reef with the clear water.
Well,
that's hilarious, dude.
Yeah, my wife, she, baby, I love you, but I'm going to tell the story.
Ooh.
She went out one time by herself, and it's bad. She went out, jumped, wave jumping, and she said a wave was like about 7 foot tall. And she tried to bail out at the last second and couldn't. Slammed down on the jet ski, bust her lip wide open. She needed about 8 stitches.
Oh.
So when she came back, I was wondering where she was. I was sitting on the beach with the kids and wondering where she was. She came back in and she was riding slow. And when she looked up, her lip looked like, man, she had like 2 hot dogs or 2 bratwursts.
Oh, man.
They were like swollen and bloody, and it was so bad. And I packed up the jet skis, took it to the hospital, got stitches, and like obviously we had a history years ago. This is years later, years ago, right. And then people are like, "Oh, what? You got mad at her again?" I was like, "Come on, man!
It's the jet ski's fault, I swear."
I know. I was like, "Dang it! People don't think that was me." But
oh my Lord!
Yeah, her lip.
No way.
And I pick with her still to this day because if you look like the way they stitched her lip, you can still see a piece
I'm
of
sure
where
nobody
it's
can
like,
see. You're the only one.
Yeah,
You're
it's
the
a
only
little
one.
bit bigger on one side.
Dude, some people pay for that. A little bit of lip accentuation. Some people pay for that.
I should do that then. Take a jet ski and take people to Hawaii to bang them.
Business.
And then it's not even liposuction. It's natural.
It's all natural.
All natural, baby.
Just a little jet ski, little engine power, and God's wave.
There you go.
And a little bit of pain, but it's very quick. It's very brief.
I think we started a new business.
That's it. Dude, dude, bottom line, watch out for jet skis, man. Go karts.
Yeah, go to go-kart.
Jet skis, things will not end well. Dude, that's cool, man. Well, we're going to be wrapping up here pretty shortly, man. But before we do, I always like to ask guests on the show. So, Shaun, is there 1 or 2 values, beliefs, things that are really on your heart that you think are just really important that you want to speak into the young listeners?
I would say, for me, family is so important. And it's not just the idea of your blood family, your extended family. I like to think Kyle is extended family.
Your brother from another mother.
There you go, all day. And so with that, man, love each other, take care of each other. We used to always say, I grew up with my uncle who's 2 years older than me. And we used to always, my grandma, my mom would always say, y'all take care of each other. I like to incorporate that into my life, and I try to tell that to my kids, but also their friends and all the young people I come in contact with. And so if we look at us and we're Christians and we're all in the family of God, then we need to take care of each other. And I think that if we do that, that is the overall principle that'll make everything happen. If we love each other, I see you have a need, then I can bless you and be there for that need, or the same way, other way around. Yeah. But if we just love and take care of each other, then I think it could heal a lot of wounds, take care of a lot of problems and things that we have in this world today, and it'll fulfill what God called of us.
Yeah. That's good. That's it.
Yeah.
And students, we see and talk to so many students, and there's that, and we, especially when we were kids, we probably didn't necessarily want to talk about what we need. You often don't ask for the help and support that you really need. So to help others, I think you have to see maybe what they're not willing to express sometimes. Yeah.
You got to have a clear eye to see that. And, and that also helps us to see what we need. When you go out of your way for somebody else and take care or love somebody else, God has this weird way of working on your heart as well to show you things about yourself. Yeah. I can remember that from all my missionary trips, and I think, I'm going to go do this great thing over here, or I'm doing this great thing with these students, and God speaks to me in my heart and saying, look, here's are the things that I want to help you with you. Yeah. and it's so amazing. So you get to do God's will, and you get God's will happening within your life.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, man.
Well, Shaun, we're about out of time here. This is about where, if you got anything you want to plug, any more shout-outs, if you want to be followed online or whatever you want to be found, what you got?
Follow me online. I don't post much. I mean, I have a Facebook, Shaun Key. You can find me on Instagram, LilChoke, LilChoke. And if you look up there, you won't see much of anything but me being goofy with my kids and some student ministry stuff or something interesting. I love architecture. I love people. I love food. Woo! Shout out to food.
Amen, brother.
So, yeah, follow me. I do follow back unless you're, like, weird and crazy and post a bunch of weird stuff. But I'm not a person type looking for following. But come get to know me, And I love meeting people, and I love helping people. So just holler at me.
That's cool. Well, Shaun, it's been a pleasure having you over here. Thanks for carving out your time on a beautiful Saturday afternoon,
thanks for giving me the invite, man. I'd love to do this again.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get my wife up here.
Right, yeah. You mentioned that several times. She sounds like a go-getter. And great.
She's got
possibly be a great resource.
Awesome. We need to set some up. She's got an awesome story that I think some of these students and young adults need to hear.
We'll get it.
Yeah.
Well, sweet, man. Well, it's been a pleasure. And, again, listeners, appreciate subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever your flavor. And that way you can be plugged into more awesome guests like Shaun here on future shows. So with that, appreciate it, man. That's it.
All right. Have a good one, y'all.
We were meant to live for so much more. Have we lost ourselves?